Another project that we would seek is HVAC, heating and ventilation, air conditioning efficiency. This project would replace and/or upgrade original HVAC equipment that is located in classrooms, the univentilators, the steam piping, the control systems, the boilers, hot water systems, and air conditioning equipment in the middle school. This is all original equipment, 1964, coming up on now 45 years old, and all original equipment primarily at the high school, the 1958 high school. Understanding that the high school was renovated in 1998, 1999, but little was done to deal with the HVAC equipment at the high school. That is all original material. The anticipated cost of a project that would replace and upgrade the HVAC system would be $5.5 million. Another project that would be done would be in information technology. This would be to complete the technology plan in all of the schools. This would be a $500,000 project. And then two final projects, both of them have been approved by the town already as capital projects. So we've submitted them to the state with the hopes of some level of reimbursement. And one of those projects would be the asbestos abatement project at the Little School. This was approved by the town last October for $60,000 to complete classroom asbestos abatement. We've submitted it under the state's infrastructure, or the federal infrastructure program. Again, if approved, we would be seeking reimbursement. And then the last project that would be submitted is a project that has also been approved by the town and funded by the town as a capital project. And we would be looking for reimbursement on the school building security. And the cost of that, when you add both capital projects that have been approved, would be just over $300,000. So the school department, along with the town, had just about a week notice to take projects that we have been contemplating, projects that we have been designing, but we have not obviously had any funding for, except the asbestos and the security projects. And we're trying to get in line, should this federal stimulus package send money to the state, we want to be ready within 6 months to be able to see what amount we can access.
David, there was one other project on here, the wastewater treatment that you didn't mention. I just want you to be able to give the details on that.
Yes, I should have mentioned that. The final project is the wastewater treatment plant that would service both the high school and the middle school. In our original designing for the middle school and the high school renovation, we know that both systems, the current septic system at the high school was original 1958. Nothing has been done to it other than pumping the septic system tank, and the septic system, including the pumps, ejection pumps at the middle school, also original 1964 equipment. We know that those systems are in need of replacement, and rather than replacing the septic system, there's a strong interest in and requirement in building a wastewater treatment plant. Obviously, any project at the two high school and the middle school would be coupled, hopefully, with any efforts in wastewater treatment that the town of North Reading would undertake. But the cost of just doing the wastewater treatment plant at the high school and middle school combined would be $2.5 million.
I want to point out that a lot of these projects are projects that were included in our requests for renovation and additions to the high school and middle school. But I think it's smart to cover all bases at this point, not knowing what the state's going to do in terms of the high school and the middle school, and to put our requests in for these projects if the stimulus money does come to North Reading. Any comments from the committee? Ms. Bach?
David, can we not submit building projects like the middle school, high school plan?
We did not submit the high school and the middle school to this particular project because it will fall under the Mass School Building Authority, and we believe that that some of the stimulus money will come directly to the Mass School Building Authority, and that projects that have been submitted to that authority, the MSBA would be the awarding agency. So we've already submitted projects to MSBA. It's been advised, and I will follow up with this, to send yet another letter to MSBA saying that we hope that our submission to MSBA would be considered under the stimulus project. It would be a duplication of effort to fill out this application.
I mean, I think it's great. It would be awesome if we could get these projects done. But on the other hand, I wouldn't want to get new windows and HVAC and a septic system at the high school and middle school and still be short classrooms.
Any other comments from the page? Questions? Thank you. Next, we have fiscal 2010 budget development. David, I don't know if there's anything new tonight.
Well, there's really, I think it might be helpful to explain again the budget process and where we are as a school department. Right before our last meeting in December, we presented to the school committee the preliminary budget that is considered to be a level services budget. Basically, we had to start somewhere, and that is to cost out what it would take to run the same programs, all of the programs that you saw tonight here at the Hood School, the Batchelder School, the Little School, the Middle School, the High School, the same number of staff, and to carry that forward next year is considered to be the level services budget. We're using that as the starting point. I think all of us understand clearly that the revenue is not going to match the level services budget. We explained also that there are drivers behind that level services budget, because when you look at it, you see that it is close to 8% of an increase, 7.8% increase over the current fiscal year. And the major areas where the FY10 budget is increased would be in the areas of contracts, would be in the areas of special education, would be in the areas of utilities and heat and utilities, and would basically be making sure that we're maintaining building maintenance and carrying everything forward in the next fiscal year. The committee also is aware that we have settled all contracts for next year, with the exception of the contract with the North Reading Education Association that expires their current contract ends in June. So the committee will be negotiating a new agreement. In the level services budget, we have reflected salary step increases. So if a teacher is in their first year, they go to the second year. They're in their second year, they go to the third year. That money is reflected in the level services budget. What is not reflected in the budget would be any other raises. Would not be included. There is a small amount of money projected for salary increases, but that's what level services budget is all about. At the next meeting, the committee will receive from me a level funded budget. Basically, a budget that takes the same amount of money that the school department is operating on this year, and will take a look at how the school system will run under a zero increase in funding. So basically, there is a gap of about $1.7 million that needs to be reduced from the level services budget in order to achieve the level funding budget. I'm currently working with the principals, Mr. Nelson, our business manager, and Pam Bodrin, our curriculum and technology director, and Christine Danjo, our special ed administrator, to identify a series of reductions that will be significant reductions in order to achieve a level funded budget. And that will be available at the next committee meeting.
Just want to make it clear too that the selectmen, finance committee, school committee, town administrator, the town business manager, our town finance director, Dr. Troughton, and our business manager, Carl Nelson, we meet on a regular basis, and there's a great deal of cooperation to try to get through this issue. Based on our last meeting, I think we're going to be fortunate to have the same amount of money next year in our budget as we had this year. I think if we have a level funded budget, we're going to be fortunate. And I know that Dr. Troughton, and he's formed a number of task forces to look at different ways to cut spending and minimally impact education. But when you're looking at numbers like we're looking at, that's pretty difficult. 1.5 or $1.7 million is a huge number. And I think one of the things that we want to try to do is make changes that are more permanent, especially if they don't have a significant impact on education. Because what we don't want to do is, well, let's have half-day Wednesdays and Tuesdays again next year, but then the year after, who knows what we're going to have. You can't run a school system that way. You have to have a school system that runs in an orderly fashion on a yearly basis, so the parents and the kids and the staff can all operate in a proper way. There are a lot of things happening in the state regarding health care. There could be changes to the GIC program, which would allow us to save money. There could be other changes made. Mr. Nelson at the last meeting mentioned that if energy costs stay low, that could help us. But that's kind of a drop in the bucket. If we could save a large amount of money in the health insurance, that would be helpful to us. But even at that, we're going to be looking at a pretty big deficit in terms of what we need for next year.
I think we reported to the finance planning team that our special ed was going to increase over $200,000
Right,
next year.
$277,000.
Because of a few new students with special ed needs. And so there's an impact on the budget that we have no control over because they're mandated, and that will directly impact the school budget. So will the contract increases, which we must provide some funds for, in addition to step increases, which are in the 5% range. So at minimum, 80% of our budget will be going up 5 to 6% just contractually. We're not even guaranteed, there's no way we're even getting that amount of money. So there are going to have to be cuts. And I agree, they can't just be year-to-year cuts. We have to be able to sustain a system. But I can't imagine what they're going to look like. Dave, are we going to have a set of options? And how fast can we have some community input sessions to...
Well, my current plan is that by the next meeting that I'll provide the committee with a series of levels of options where in the first tier will be recommendations that regardless of where we end up financially, that we just need to go ahead and do this. So they're almost must do. And those options will be restructuring, changing the way we do business, changing the shape of our schools. And then there will be a second level to bring us down to that level funded level.
Just to make a comment, to put this in perspective, we're talking about